Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to move units that you just created. So in our last video, I showed you how to create units. So if you look at the script, there's a script that creates a unit when a player joins the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another script, and we're going to call this script move or start moving up. Okay, and and we're going to create an action, and we're going to search for an action that has word force in it. So we're going to apply force on unit, and we can apply force differently for the x and the y coordinates. So because we're moving unit up, we're going to apply negative y force, y coordinate force. Just as an arbitrary value, we're going to apply force of 100. So we're going to apply minus 100 force on a last casting unit. So I'll tell you more about why this has to be a casting unit in a bit. So we're going to say OK. So we created the script here for moving up. I'm gonna save the changes, and we're going to move to environment. All right. So if you look at the unit that you just created, you can see that you can bind keys to this unit. So if you bind, let's say, up key, you can make it so that when user presses up, it's going to cast abilities. And here, this on key down is going to be casted if the key is pressed down, like when the keyboard is pressed. And when it's released, when you let your hand go, then on key up is going to also cast a different ability. So we don't have any abilities yet. So I'm gonna save it here for now. And let's go to abilities section. So here you can add abilities, and I am going to create an ability that says start moving up. And what this ability actually does is it's going to run the script. So currently we have two scripts, right? When player joins and start moving up. So it's going to run this script, start moving up. And there will be no cost to cast this ability. And I'm just going to save it. All right, good. So now we have an ability, and now we're going to go back to unit type, and we are going to bind the ability start moving up on key down, and we're going to save it. Okay, and save. All right. So now I'm going to republish the game. All right, so that's been done. And let's take a look at the game we just created. Sometimes it's not fully published, so I'm just going to refresh the page. All right, there you go. And play game. So now we have the unit, and he can't do anything except if I press up, he's going to move just a tiny bit. And if I press up many times, like this, it's going to move up like that. I can't move anywhere else. Now, normally a player wouldn't want to keep on pressing the up button to move the unit up. Typically, players would want to just press and hold on to the up button and then expect the unit to keep on moving up. So we are going to program that. So go back to the scripts, and instead of applying the force to the unit right away, we're going to remove this, and we are going to save it, and then go to environment, go to person, and we're going to add attributes to the units. So there are no attributes right now, but we're going to apply two attributes to the unit just to indicate which direction the unit's moving to. So we're going to go to attribute types, and we're going to add two new attributes, one for the x coordinates and one for the y coordinates. So I will call it force x to indicate whether if the unit's moving up or down. So moving up would be indicated by -1. Moving down would be indicated by 1. And by default, it's going to be 0. And it's not going to regenerate. And just for educational purpose, I will show it. So it's normally I wouldn't show the attribute in the game, but I'll show it and you'll be able to take a look at it. So I'm going to create the force X, and we are going to create force Y as well. Don't worry, guys. It'll all make sense in the end. Just bear with me here for now. Okay, and save. All right. So we have force X and force Y attributes, and now we're going to add those attributes to the unit. So force X, okay, and force Y. And all right. So that's all done. And save. Okay, good. And now we're going to go back to the scripts. And what start moving up script is now going to do is it's going to change the value of these attributes. So we're going to add the action. Let's search for attribute. Okay, so unit attribute is what we're trying to change. So we're going to set unit attribute, set the force Y, because we're moving up, of the casting unit. And because we're moving up, we're going to set it as -1. Okay, done, saved. And we want to also create a script that's going to start, that's for start, moving down. And what it's going to do is basically the same thing, set unit attribute, except it's going to set the force Y of the last casting unit 1. Okay, so save it. So if you take a look, moving up, it's going to set it as -1. Moving down, it's going to set it as 1. We're going to save the changes and go back to the environment. And I'm going to set the key binding, the new one for down key. And oh, okay. I guess I didn't create the start moving down ability yet. So I'm going to cancel all that. And we're going to go to abilities. Yeah. So I'm going to create the ability, start moving down. And it's going to run the script, start moving down. All right. So we have that. I'm going to go back to the unit type. And we're going to bind the key to start moving down ability. Okay, cool. Now that we are assigning the force Y value to either 1 or -1, we need a loop. We're going to create another script, and we'll call it we'll call it tick, and it runs in every frame. So in every 50 milliseconds. So that's roughly what, like 20 times a second. It's going to run through the tick. Okay. So in this tick script, we're going to loop through all units. So we actually have an option here that says for all units. Okay, and we're just going to go OK here. So this is the loop, and we're going to add another action on top of it. We are going to apply force. We're going to apply force on unit XY. Okay, so this time around, we can actually use selected unit. It's traversing through all units through this for loop. So this is what it looks like. So for all units, we're going to apply force to that specific selected unit during the loop. That's what it says. We are going to apply force to X and Y coordinates. Going to use a calculation here. And the first operand, we're going to choose the units attribute. Okay, so it's going to be force X. So it's going to be either 1 or -1, right? And then we're going to multiply that by let's say 100. So depending on which key you're pressing, it's going to be either -1 multiplied by 100, which is going to be -100, or it's going to be 1 multiplied by 100, which is going to be 100. Okay. Same thing for the y-axis. So calculate, and the first operand is going to be unit attribute, which is going to be force y of the selected unit, and we're going to multiply that by 100. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and save it. So let's read this through. So for every frame, so every 20 times a second, we're gonna go through all units, and for each unit, we're going to apply force, the force x attribute of the unit and force y attribute of the unit, each one of them multiplied by 100. So that's going to happen many times every second. Okay, so I'm going to save the changes. Let's just review that everything is set correctly. I haven't assigned moving left or right yet. It's just for the up and down. But let's go ahead and publish it and see what happens. Okay. And now we have our unit. Now we can either go up, and then you can see that once I press up, it's continuously trying to push up. I'm not holding onto my keys here right now. If I press down and let go, it's going to start going down. But I'm not pressing on any keys. So you only have to press it once, and then it goes either up or down. So I'm going to press up, now I'm pressing down, and it just continuously moves based on what your force y value is set to. So actually, if you take a look in the bottom here, there's a force y value displayed. So if I press up, it becomes -1, and if I press down, it becomes 1. And every 50 milliseconds, we're applying this either force of -1 times by 100 or 1 times by 100, so -100 or 100, like 50 times a second, or sorry, 20 times a second. So this is why it's continuously moving. So what we want to do further to prevent a unit from continuously moving up or down, even though I let go of the key, we want to stop the unit if I let go of the key, right? So let's go back to our scripts here. So what we need to do is we need to create a script. So I'm going to create a new script, and that's going to stop moving up or stop moving down. So stop moving up, we're going to create a new action, and all this action is going to do is it's going to reset the attribute value. So set unit attribute, set force y of the casting unit as 0. And actually the moving down is also going to do the same thing. So I guess we don't have to separate them. We could just say reset force y. So we're gonna call it like that. We're starting to get more and more scripts here, so I'm gonna start organizing it a little nicer. So I'm just going to create a folder for the scripts that are abilities. So start moving up, and then we got start moving down, and then we have reset force y. All right, I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to go to environment and create a new ability, reset force y, and it's going to run reset force y, save. And then I'm going to go to my unit types and go to key binding. And for up, now if you let go of the key, it's going to reset the force y, and same deal for letting go of a down key as well. Okay. Now if I republish the game, it's taking a while to load. Okay, there you go. Now we have the unit. If I press up, it's going to move up, but if I let go of the up key, it stops moving up. And if I start moving down and let go, it stops moving. Notice how the force Y value changes as I press the keys. So I'm going to press up, right? I'm going to let go of the up now. See, it becomes 0. And I'm going to press down. It becomes 1. If I let go of the down, it becomes 0. Now, I can't move left or right, but it's exactly the same logic as moving up or down. So let's see. I'm going to, you know what? Let's just do a little shortcut here. So I'm going to create a bunch of new scripts. All right. And the first one, I'm going to call it start moving left. And then I'm going to paste the action that I just copied. And I'm just going to change the force Y to force X. Okay. I'm going to copy that. And this one is going to be called start moving right. And I am going to paste it. And I will set the X attribute as 1. All right. And then we have the reset force X. Okay. And what that's going to do, copy that, is it's going to set the force X value as 0. Okay. And might as well, we should move all of them in the folder. Oops. And once we're done with that, we're going to save it and go to environment. And now we have to create 3 more abilities. So one's going to be move, start moving left. And it's going to run the script, start moving left. Another one is going to be start moving right. That's when the right key is pressed. And the last one is reset force X. Okay. All right, so we got the ability set. Last step is to assign the key bindings. I'm going to select left, which is going to cast the ability start moving left. And if the keys let go, we're going to reset the force X. Oh, whoops. And I better also assign the key for moving right as well. Okay, so move right, start moving right, and then if the keys let go, we're gonna reset the force X. Okay, let's see if we can make our unit unidirectional. We're gonna republish the game. Okay, now you can see our unit can move in all kinds of directions. Notice the force attributes of the unit, which is indicated down here. You can see that if I'm moving left or right, the force X values are changing. And if I'm moving up or down, the force Y values are changing. Okay. Awesome. So I will wrap up our movement, the basic movement tutorial here. And there are some adjustments that needs to be made later on. So I'll cover that right away. Thanks for watching, guys.